Just amazing how easy it is to pull up the sturdiest of plants with a taproot even. It is a duck plant when you're doing no dig. Come out, silverweed. I saw you. How are you guys doing? This Martin from Gardens for Life. I just wanted to make a little maintenance video and show you what kind of things we do here in our garden every once in a while, like cutting the grass or even taking care of the edges beside the garden beds and beside our nursery, and yeah, just generally having a look around. There's a duck plant that got away on us. We'll try and pull it up, and sure enough, because it's no dig, it comes up very easily with one hand even. So we'll just throw that onto the pile. We're just cutting the grass here too today, because we have a walk and talk on Sunday. But certainly we want to keep the grasses going to seed in check. Like these here. Don't want them spreading their seeds into our garden beds just here, or even onto the paths, because if you do, you get something like this. Must have been a grass seed from last year. And they do grow in the wood chips, as you can see, as the wood chips decompose. The best thing is you can just throw any bits of grass like that back onto the path. Here's some grass that definitely got away and it went to seed, so we'll have to take that down before it spreads all its seeds all over our garden. We'll use the hedge clipper for that. What are you doing?
Getting my tractor.
Oh, good man. As you cut the edge back, it actually grows back too, and the only way to stop it is actually to cut it back with a knife and to put a bit of a root barrier up, about 10 centimeters, so that the grasses cannot grow over the top of it. You can see how the edges here have actually already grown back. What we do is we just fold the plastic over a little bit in places where we can, and then drive over it with the lawnmower. And here's one bit that I didn't do yet to give you guys a demonstration of how I do it. So you can see here that needs to be taken down right away before all these grass seeds actually spread. Some of them are already seem to be coming off. So let's get on it. So the first thing I do is I simply remove any containers or stones that are nearby. So I simply flatten the grass by stepping on it, and make sure you push the seed heads towards your lawn or your grass, so that the seeds don't fly into your pots or into your garden beds. Alright. You're already waiting for with your tractor. You need me to cut that grass now, don't you?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'll take my sharpest knife, which is the Leatherman, and we simply cut it back. By stepping on it on one side and then cutting the other side. 1 second now. So you simply cut the roots like that. You can see the plastic on the edges does house slugs alright, but we're not too worried about them. By the time we plant our plants out, they're already fairly established. So we simply cut the grasses off at the back. So I can't put too much pressure on my arm, so I could do it the other way. Let me see if that works actually. Ah yeah, that's better. So you simply cut it back like that. And that's it. And then we can drive over it with a lawnmower after. All you need to do now is find a fella to transport all that hay off. Of course you could just use a side, but I haven't got one at the moment. There's definitely easier ways to do this than using a hedge clipper, but I'm going to buy a side at some stage when I get a chance and relearn the skill. Well, you can see I have these twigs here on my ears. That's actually lemon balm. It keeps the flies away. They're really bad today. They were really annoying me. Unfortunately, it looks awful silly, but it's helping a lot, and the flies haven't gone near me since I'm wearing these. For those of you who know, Wild Hunter makes some really good ear protection. I'm sure there's better out there, but these are cheap enough and they're really good. I'm going to chance it without the lemon balm now. Yeah, I would have liked to cut this grass back a little sooner, because as you can see here, when you move it around, the seeds kind of fall off. But hopefully they're not ripe yet. And if we cut them back, hopefully they won't ripen on the stalk. I would have liked to cut it all back earlier, but I just couldn't because of my shoulder injury. I wasn't able to use the machine, or wasn't able to get rid of the grass here until now. This grass is even too far gone for our rabbits to eat it, so better off to cut it back and then we can harvest it again. Or we'll just cover it and just use this area for compost instead. You can see this garden here has been kept fairly clean, but there are still quite a few undesirable plants popping up. Not that I want to call them weeds, but for example sorrel, well, you can eat it and it tastes really nice, but we don't want too much of it around. Who here knows what that plant actually is? Do you know what that is? Is that borage? Although the leaves are a little bit like great mullein, but not the same shape. They're very soft though. Here's one of the sorrels. Well, guess what? So you can see here it's all a mixture of different tubers, and there's some sunflowers and berries in here too, and even some Taunton kale. And who here knows what plant this is? I'll give you a hint. It looks a bit like a giant daisy when it flowers, and it makes tubers underneath. They look like a dahlia tuber. Yacon. So this is actually one of our first fairly large yacons. It's about a foot tall now, 1.5 feet maybe. Some of the other ones are nearly as advanced, but they've only been planted out recently, maybe about 4 weeks ago. Because of my injury, I got thrown back a couple of weeks, or a few weeks. You wouldn't want them to end up in frost anyway. As you can see, the ochas are majestic. Look at the size of that plant. It's huge. And you can eat the leaves again. Very nice leaves. A bit like well, oxalic acid. That's where the name comes from in Latin, oxalis. It's really nice though. So the mashua leaves are really nice too. Look at the size of that mashua plant. Nice. So we can eat those now already. And they look like nasturtiums. And they are similar in shape, but in flavour they're very different. They're very mild to eat. I'm getting no spice at all, but a light flavour. You could actually add that to a salad. It would be a nice, pleasant flavour. And you have an abundance of leaves basically for the whole of the growing season. I really think that these plants here are actually they must be, it looks like birch, but I don't think it is. It must be mullein. Maybe it's a new variety of mullein that we have crossed here between the Greek variety, which is Olympic mullein, and the Great mullein, which is the European mullein. So let's see what happens. We'll see what kind of shape of flowers we get and whatnot. That's all part of the fun. We want the garden to develop over time, over the years, and basically create new varieties of different plants. That's why we always plant lots of different types of plants together in order for them to have a chance to cross over. And we'll see what comes out then, especially when the birds eat the berries. So they're spreading the seeds then as nature takes its course. And we end up with the odd berry bushes here and there. And we're going to see what those turn into. You never know, it could be a new variety. I have to show you the Paulownia tree. No idea how big this thing is going to grow this year, but it's going to be huge. It's 2 years old now, and it's been planted here a year ago. And it's about maybe 1.5 meters or 5 foot tall now. But last winter didn't knock it back to the ground. It wasn't -10, it was a mild winter, so it made it through it. And if we're really lucky, we're going to get some Paulownia flowers. You know, it's actually known as the foxglove tree. We have marigolds or calendulas in abundance. We're picking them in order to make some salves. What is it, moisturizer salve, is it?
Balm.
And we have some more here. Look at that, the amount of them there. And the ones back in the pizza garden are only just starting to flower now. So we have full sun here. We've had 6 weeks of flowers already. And probably another 4 or 5 weeks.
Now with these flowers we can make balm, face balm, and we can make creams, and we can make tea as well. After dry them, and infusion as well in oil.
Great. Sowed carrots here in this bed, and almost none of them came up. Either the seeds were not great, or maybe they dried out actually. It was actually in the middle of a drought. These beetroots here are going to seed, and we're going to let them because we want to get a harvest of beetroot seeds. And some harvest it's going to be. And you can see here next to that are the gooseberries. Look how thick the stems are even. And 1 or 2 I let go to berry or to flower. I didn't tip layer it. You can see it here. The size of the berries, I've never seen them go that big. But this is a fresh no-dig bed with a foot of compost in the bottom. And there is, I mean, we're going to have kilos of berries just from this one tree, or just one bush. That's just one branch, and here's another branch. And there's probably a few more underneath. Yeah, that's, people grow more gooseberries. And you can always just take a cutting like this. I'll just take one now, I don't have gloves on. So you can take that, strip the leaves off the bottom half and stick it in the ground and it'll grow. You're very likely to get a plant out of it as long as you don't let it dry out. Maybe into potting soil or peat, and that'll be antibacterial, so you could root it for a longer period of time without it going rotting, or less chance of it going rotten anyway. You can see the cambion layer just here, the green layer inside. Hardwood only has a very thin layer of cambion. Softwood has a much more active cambion layer, and it's much thicker, so it'll root better as well. Look, some of the flowers that have already finished have gone to seed already. You can see the seeds right here, yeah. And here's some more. So those will go brown and then drop off, and then they're already going to be next year's crop. We didn't even plant these calendulas here. They actually self-seeded last year.
Yeah.
which means that they've already adapted to our conditions here in our microclimate. Who here remembers that flower? We use the magnificent calendula in our logo. Some of you, I'm sure, will already have noticed that. These Gooseberries are really packing softwood. And the white currants too. Great. And the black currants are dense. If I can even get there now, probably not. It's too dense in here. Canopy gardening at its best. No space for weeds is the best way to keep them off your garden beds. I got the amount of horseflies around, and I got rid of me lemon balm twigs, and the flies are after me again, so I better keep going, keep moving. And currants and a great mullein. How are we going to walk through here in the walk and talk on Sunday? I don't know. For anyone watching this that's coming on Sunday, you better bring a machete. I'm only joking. We might clear the path before that. Look at this. There's some poppies growing here too. Some artichokes. Those will be ready to harvest fairly soon. This one here. Charles or Shannon, if you're watching this, can you see this? Is this ready? We got the idea of artichokes from the Bull and Ark in Loughrea. I'm not sure if that one is ready to harvest. Maybe somebody can tell us in the comments. Look at these cornflowers. Yeah, so taprooted plants are very easy to pull up, especially because you have about 20 to 30 centimeters worth of compost on top of your regular soil below, and worms actually come up through as well, so they actually loosen up the soil for you. What are you eating?
Strawberry.
You found strawberries. Guess what I just see here? Some strawberries.
Wow, I can't wait to eat them.
That looks good.
And now we eat this big one.
Pretty good. Any good? Are they better from the garden than from the shop?
Garden.
Alright. No, that one is... Oh, it was only half ripe, but still.
I found this one.
Pretty good. Geez, there's so many here. This is actually... What's the variety? Do you remember? Any rotten ones you see, you need to get rid of them and throw them in the compost pile. Almost ready. We'll get it before the birds do. Looks like the red Russian kale is actually starting to ripen, the seeds. So once the majority of them are ripe, you can see how these ones are not yet ripe. They're green. They haven't gone dry yet. But these ones here are. Once the majority of them are ripe, we're going to bag them up and then shake them around. And we'll take all the seeds from them then. And we don't mind if a few seeds drop on the ground here, and it'll save seed for next year. Same as it has for the last 3 years. One creeping buttercup plant had got away, and it was covering all of this here. And look at how it actually just spreads by suckers, and then it makes more roots. Just like strawberries, as a matter of fact. You can see how each sucker has these little roots at the bottom. So you just need to peel it back all the way to the original plant and then dig it up. I know it's a no-dig garden, but unfortunately the roots are a little bit dense, so I'd rather try and get all of the roots. I think this area may have been a little compacted from being a pat before, so I'm going to use a fork. Alright, let's give it a go. Best thing you can do is just kind of dig halfway down. Try not to put up so much soil with it, because if you do, you have to shake all the soil back off again, and because it'll actually grow in the compost pile. We don't want that. See how it's all the roots will come up. And you better put up all the roots as well, because otherwise all your effort is for nothing, because you will find that the creeping buttercup is going to come back within a matter of months. And we'll try and shake all that soil off it as well. And that's it. And put it on top of the compost pile. And that's it. There you are now. Now there's more space for the strawberries to grow. I think we've got our first blackcurrant of the year. Yeah, that's ready. Pretty good, not sour at all. Here's one more. Do you want one? Is that ready? All right. And look at the sheer abundance of blackcurrants right here. Other plants such as this silverweed and this sorrel can be pulled up quite easily in a no-dig lasagna bed, and you get nearly all of the roots as well. Here's one of our insect piles. It's kind of like a compost pile, but the lazy way. We basically just don't even turn it at all, and we just leave it there, and the fertility washes off into the surrounding areas. We must make a separate video just on insect piles. It's well worth it. There'll be probably at least 10 minutes worth of content in it. Well, we found some more raspberries. Once you lift up, they're kind of hidden from the birds. Just accidentally, really, because they're so heavy with fruit that they're falling over. Look at how many raspberries there's here. Time to eat?
Yes.
Well, that's it for a quick maintenance video, what we're doing here in the garden on a daily basis. Well, not actually every day, but just sometimes we come out here and do a bit of work. And thanks for watching the video, and we will see you at the next one. All the best. Bye bye. Please give us a thumbs up.